Haylee was a brave young woman who faced off against her father, Fred, for the horrible sexual abuse he put her through. Abuse that he denied. Not only did Haylee take my lie detector test to prove her truth, she also went to the police after Fred targeted her niece. Haylee said she wanted to stop Fred from going after a new generation of victims. Take a look at her courageous story and stay tuned because Haylee is back with an update. Haylee, tell me about your childhood.
So growing up from like the age of 4, my dad would sexually assault me and my mom would physically, emotionally, and verbally abuse me. And by the time I was in my teenage years, I was taken into child services and placed with a foster family.
So child services stepped in and placed, and why did they do that?
Because my mom had attacked a relative, a sibling, and I intervened and tried to pull her off of my sibling, and she assaulted me as well. So she went for my assault and my siblings.
So she punched you in the face?
Yeah.
How old were you at the time?
I was 15.
15. What is this about your dad would lock your siblings in the room to molest you?
Every Saturday. It was a thing for like 10 years. My mom would go with her friends and play cards, and my dad would be left to watch me and my siblings. And he would just make up an excuse as to why my siblings got in trouble. And he would lock them in the rooms as punishment and then take me into the bathroom and sexually assault me there.
And how old, what years did this happen?
Like 4 to 8.
For 4 years this went on.
I remember having a nightmare, and like I'm 5, so I went to my parents' room and tried to climb in their bed. And my dad had a mark on his neck. I'm like, what's that? And my mom's like, oh, that's a hickey. And like she showed me how to do it. She did it herself on the side and gave him another one. And then she told me to give him one on the other side and told me to suck harder so there's a bigger mark.
I hear there's a story about your mom and dad would play a game of ripping off your clothes.
So, like, at any moment, like it's random, they would just grab me and start undressing me, and they wouldn't stop until I was completely nude, like, and it's usually like in like the living room, and I'd be screaming, I'd be crying, I'm like, stop, and they just wouldn't stop until I was completely naked. And when they were done, I just grab my clothes and go to my room, get dressed, and cry. When I would be walking by and he would randomly like grope my chest and rub on my chest and tell me he was doing it so that my breast would grow big, and then he would touch me between my legs. And he said that he's not gonna touch me between my legs too much because he doesn't want that getting too big.
Do you know why it stopped at the age of 8?
I think it's because I'm getting older and like I have more of a voice.
So he was more concerned that you
Yeah,
might
that
tell
I would
somebody.
tell somebody. Like growing up, I heard different stories about other relatives that had similar stories with my dad. So I reached out to all of the other victims, and I was trying to build a case. That's me reaching out to my cousin, and basically we're swapping stories about what he's done to us, and we're trying to, you know, get justice for my niece, for me, for them.
Fred is my husband. We've been married for almost 26 years. He's my best friend. I did get with Fred when I was 13 and he was 27, but we did not start having sex until I was 17. Well, I love him so much because he's a great man. He takes care of me. He took care of our kids. It's been a great marriage, except for all these fake allegations against him.
No, I never molested Haylee. I don't know why she's saying it, but it makes me really angry and hurt. She was my favorite kid and my first daughter. I have no idea why she's doing this.
When she first came out and said she was molested, I tried to get answers out of her about it, and she would not give me any.
Haylee's saying that When my wife used to go next door to play cards, that I would lock the other kids in the room and take her in the bathroom and molest her, which never happened.
The story with me making her give her own father a hickey is ridiculous. I do not believe Haylee's lies, and it's not the first time she's making things up.
Haylee was a teenager. She told CPS when they asked her if I ever touched her or anything, she told them no.
When she was younger, we got in trouble with CPS. She had told them that I punched her in the nose when in fact she punched herself in the nose to get me arrested for it. She is a violent person. She tried to choke me once, and I ended up getting charged with battery.
Another family member accused me of the molest, and Haylee told him that it was not true, that nothing like that ever happened.
Fred was accused of molesting before, and when they asked Haylee about it, she denied all of it and said it never happened.
Haylee came up with these fake accusations because recently my granddaughter accused me of the same thing.
And now there's this new allegation from my grandchild saying that Fred grabbed her butt. That never happened. I was there.
What my granddaughter said was actually that I grabbed her butt and I kissed her and told her that I wanted to have sex with her, which is totally a lie. The same child that's accusing me 3 years ago started doing striptease in front of me, and I yelled at her and I told her parents and my wife as well.
I seen texts on her phone where she was trying to get family members to gang up against Fred about these false accusations, and when I saw them, I was upset, I was hurt, angry. None of them were true, so I don't know where they're coming from. We did kick her out the night I found these texts. It's affected us a little bit. The family's putting us through hell, and it hurts. I just can't do it no more. Going back and forth with my kids and all the lies, I can't handle it no more.
If she thinks I'm such a monster, I don't know why for the last 7 years she came living with me as a grown woman.
Me and Fred are suffering. We've always been there for our kids, supported them, gave them a place when they needed it.
They're just making this stuff up. They're all lying about it. I still love her, but I can't have her in my life no longer because it's the second time that something like this happened.
I feel like me and Frederick are the real victims here.
And I don't know why she's making these accusations.
After all these lies came out, I want nothing more to do with Haylee.
After today, I need Haylee just to leave me the hell alone and stay out of my life.
When you hear your mother say they're the victims, what goes through your mind?
She never had to be the victim. She lost all her kids, so she is childless because of her own actions.
You know, a couple things I want to get to. You feel like you're the victim, Natasha, that you and Frederick are the victims in this story.
We are.
And,
Because it's not the first time Haylee has made up lies to get either one of us in trouble. The whole thing with CPS, she punched herself.
You
in the
punched
nose.
me in my nose.
You
I
punched
came up
yourself
behind
in
you.
the nose.
You weren't there. You were not there.
so she punched herself in the face.
She punched herself
she
in the
did.
nose, and there was two
Because
witnesses that
Oh,
seen
what
you
it.
happened
seen that?
to you-
You seen it? You seen me punch
I
myself?
seen it.
You seen me?
You came downstairs with bloody nose. No one hit you until then.
Now, the one thing I do have to ask you, it's not even on what I'm supposed to ask you, but I got to ask you, you were 14 years old and he was 27, you started
13.
dating,
I was 13, yeah.
and you
And
said...
26 years later, we're still married.
I don't care about that.
I
Let me-
do.
Well, I'm sure you do, but
Well, I'm sure you don't.
I don't. So, okay, we agreed to disagree, okay?
Okay.
So you're a 27-year-old grown man, and you meet
Yeah.
a 13-year-old girl, little girl.
Nope.
Yeah. No?
I
You
know.
didn't?
No.
No, he's known me all my
I
life.
know her all
Okay,
life.
so
So I didn't meet her.
the 13-year-old girl, so would you say that you started dating when she was 13?
Yeah.
Okay. You start, as a 27-year-old grown man, you start dating a 13-year-old girl. You didn't
Yeah.
see any problem with this.
Not really.
Did anybody in your circle of friends or family say, What are you doing? When I was 27 years old, I was a policeman. What the hell would I have in common with a 13-year-old girl? You're just confused, right?
Man, I wish I could have made it to the show, Steve. I could have took your dumbass lie detector test and showed you.
I offered a private one. I offered to pay for a private one. Where was the response? Say yes to the lie detector test.
Well, I'll
the
say
police
this.
offered.
I don't know if we can do this. I really don't. And we'll find out after the show. And if we can, we can. If we can't. I've never done this before. But maybe I need to come to you with my lie detector test and give you the test.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
And Natasha, I would love to give you a lie detector test and ask you about what your sexual relationship with Frederick from the age of 13 to 17.
That's fine, because I never had sex with him until I was 17.
I would love to do that. What did your daughter, how did you discover that your daughter was molested by Frederick?
My daughter went outside to the car after it happened that same day. She texted me to tell me exactly what had happened because we have always discussed that that's what you do in that situation.
And what did she say to you?
She told me that Fred pulled her out into the hallway away from all the other kids. He touched her butt, he tried to kiss her, and told her that he wanted to have sex with her.
Nicole, there's not an open investigation into this right now?
Oh, no, there's an open investigation.
Oh, there is an open investigation.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You and your
Nicole?
sick mind.
No,
Nicole?
just you.
I understand that your daughter is going in for a forensic interview tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully the police will be able to get some evidence from that and hopefully bring some charges against Frederick. So Haylee came here and took a lie detector test, and we asked her, did Frederick sexually abuse you as a child? She answered yes. Did Natasha show you how to give Frederick a hickey as a child? She answered yes. Are you fabricating the molestation? She answered no. The results came back all the same, and they came back that Haylee told the truth.
I told you and you didn't believe me. When I was little, you said if anybody ever touched me, I could tell you. And that you would always believe me no matter what. And you didn't.
You never came to me at all. And when I asked you if this stuff ever happened, you could not give me any answer.
But she passed for you showing her how to give this creep a hickey.
That one I don't know, because I did not.
You don't know?
I don't know.
She don't know how she passed.
I don't get it. As being a father myself, okay? I think one of the sickest thoughts a father could have is being sexually attracted to his own daughter, his own grandchild,
And it never happened.
niece. What the hell?
Yes,
I don't understand how a 27-year-old man could be attracted to a child. But that's me. I know there's in the world, and you're sitting one next to one. And I'm sorry, Natasha, you're just as bad. You are with a child molester, a guy that's attracted to children because he was attracted to you as a child. So you know that as fact. He is attracted to children. And he stepped over the line. He molested your own daughter. He molested Nicole's daughter. And I'll tell you, I hope that they put you away, Frederick, because when you go away, when you go in that prison cell, I'm going to come and visit you. That's my promise. You are two of the sickest people I've ever met. And with that, get these people off my show. I always say this. Life is the roll of dice who we get for parents, right? You don't get to pick your parents. You got two that just, it's unbelievable. Like some of the worst parents you could ever have. He's abusing you and she's allowing it. And she might have been a victim herself at one time. She was a 13-year-old girl with a 27-year-old man. It was very brave of you. I'm glad you came because That guy had to be stopped, and hopefully you're the woman that puts an end to it. Good luck to you. Today, Frederick and Natasha's other child, Brandon, is here. He says he also suffered terrible physical abuse from Frederick, including being tased as a child. Also, for his entire life, Brandon was told that Frederick was his father. But now, not only are his parents telling him that Frederick is not his father, they also say Brandon is lying about the abuse allegations. You know, your sister was here, I think, last week, and she just told a horrific story. How was your childhood?
It was horrible. It was a nightmare. I was beat on a daily basis. I was tased. I was hit with tools. Was told I was worthless and stupid.
By both your mother and father? Or?
Mostly Fred. My mom just kind of sat there and watched it all happen.
Yeah. When you're going through this as a child, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I was horrified. Like, I felt like I was unloved. I was the mistake they made years ago that they didn't want around anymore.
What did your dad do to you at the age of 5?
I remember coming out of the bathroom, and I did something to upset him, and to the point where he came up with this wrench and he just cracked me right here in my head. I had a golf ball size.
You still got a golf ball size thing there. Jeez Louise.
But it throbbed for weeks. I was told to lie about it, that I ran into a doorknob. Had to go to school and
What'd your mom
functions.
say? Like, did your mom do anything?
I went up to her and told her what happened, and she just told me to go to the room. It would be okay.
What did he do to you at age 13?
That's when the tasing started.
Like an electrical taser?
Yeah, it was one of those little handheld ones that you plug in and recharge.
And he would just tase you with it?
Yeah, I'm terrified of hearing the stove come on because it sounds like that taser.
How many times did he do that?
Hundreds of times.
And your mother never stepped in and put a stop to it?
Never once.
What happened when you were 14 years old?
I was trying to escape my prison that I was in, locked in my room, and he caught me and he tased me in my
I gotta imagine that hurt like hell.
some of the worst pain I've ever felt.
They kicked you out. How old were you when they kicked you out?
I was 14.
So right after the tasing of your testicles?
Yeah, because I got tired of the abuse and they knew I could no longer be a victim, so they didn't want me in their household no more.
Where'd you go?
I ended up contacting a family member and stayed with them.
Until you stayed with them for the rest of your childhood?
Yeah, turned 17. I ended up convincing them into signing paperwork to let me join the military.
Well, not a bad idea.
I had to do something to change my life around.
Yeah.
He raised me as his son.
Well, you called him Dad, right?
Yes, sir.
His name's on your birth certificate, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's not a far-fetched thing to think that he's your father.
That's what they told everybody until people started questioning it. Then my mom lied about it and said he wasn't my father just so he didn't go to jail.
But why did you take a lie detector test?
Because I'm tired of being called a liar about the
because
abuse.
of all these, what you say that he did to you, tasing you, beating you. Now, he's accused of touching a young child recently. Do you know this child?
She's my stepdaughter.
The last time I was on the show, I was faced with allegations from my daughter, and I'm not really sure what happened, but I am working on clearing it up with myself.
We were heavy drinkers back then, and we really don't remember a whole lot. Brandon is one of my kids, and he's my favorite child because he's my firstborn. Growing up, we always told Brandon that Fred was his father because he was the one there taking care of him.
The reason my name's on Brandon's birth certificate is because when his real father found out that Natasha was pregnant, he left out of the picture, and I wanted Brandon to have a father. And now I have my son, Brandon, making up stories about how I used to abuse him.
When Brandon was a teenager, he had gotten out of control. He was always getting into fights. I had to pick him up numerous times from the police department.
Growing up, me and Brandon used to get along great. It's just when he turned into a teenager and started doing drugs and started acting out that we no longer got along. Brandon was even in a gang called the Cool Kid Gang.
He's lying because Fred was never abusive with him. Yeah, there was times him and Brandon had butted heads, but there was never any abuse.
I never really punched him. I smacked him. I probably hit him harder than what I should. But, you know, he was a big kid and he was very violent. He's telling you guys that I used to tase him, which he's using things out of context.
Frederick took a DNA test because Brandon wanted one, and he wants to know who his real dad is.
Last time we was on the show, I told Steve that I was 27 and Tasha was 13 when we got together, but we did nothing sexual until she was 17 years old. Therefore, I could not be Brandon's father.
Brandon took a lie detector test about these allegations about Fred abusing him, and he is going to fail his test. Me and Fred are back on the show to prove that none of this is true, and so our kids will finally leave us alone and stop victimizing us.
Okay, I'm sorry I have to go there. You were part of a gang called the Cool Kids Gang.
It was something stupid me and my friends
Yeah,
did.
and I just want to say, if I ever got jumped by a gang, I want to get jumped by the Cool Kids.
We never did anything illegal.
So, listen, I'm a little confused because when you were on the show, when I talked to you before, you talked about this incredible romance between a 27-year-old man and a 13-year-old girl, right? You fell in love.
Right.
But you really respected each other and said, we're not going to have sex until I am of legal age, right?
Right.
But then you start somebody else.
What?
Right?
No, what are you talking about?
Well, what happened to that incredible love story that you started sleeping with another
Because
guy?
I had messed up and cheated on him, and we broke up and got back together when I was 17.
Okay, so you patched up this wonderful love story.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long have you known Natasha? From what age?
My whole life.
Since you were a baby?
Yeah.
And
You're
then,
my
when
uncle's best friend.
and then when she was 13 years old, you developed romantic feelings for her.
They used to brag about how he changed her diapers.
We never
In
bragged
the first place, no
about
one
it.
bragged about it, Brandon, you liar.
Did you change her diapers?
Him and his ex-wife did.
Me and my ex-wife, when we babysitter.
Frederick, you know, your son, Brandon here, or maybe son, maybe not son, but you raised him, you look at him as a son. He says, you know, you're hitting him in the head with socket wrenches, you're tasing him with the taser, you tased him in his testicles. Any of that true?
No.
Is any of that true?
Yes. I'm
They
asking
tased,
you.
Hello?
they tased
Let
each other.
Frederick's a big boy.
Brandon tased all of his
Natasha,
buddies.
Natasha,
They taste each other.
Frederick's a big boy. Let him answer for himself.
She's a big girl, she's talking to you.
Oh, you tased each other.
They tased each other.
I never.
Their
I
friends
wish I
tased
got the
us,
chance
they
to tase him.
tased their friends. It's a little 9-volt taser.
So you admit tasing him, but he would tase you too.
I wish I did.
Brandon, stop lying.
Brandon, you did more than one.
You sat there and hold it on yourself and count to 5.
Frederick, did
So
you tase
can
him?
do it.
Frederick, did you tase him?
We all taste each other.
And so he tased you back, you're saying?
Everybody tastes everybody.
So Brandon came here and we asked him, did Frederick ever tase you? He said yes, and Frederick, you basically admitted that you did. But
Yeah.
you said you tase him back and forth.
Everybody's tasting everybody.
Okay.
Whatever.
Is that not true, Brandon?
Except
I
Natasha.
wish I got the chance to tase you.
So we asked, did Frederick ever tase you? He answered yes. Did Frederick ever strike or punch you in the face? He answered yes. Did Frederick hit you in the head with a metal tool when you were a minor child? He answered yes. The results came back all the same, and it came that Brandon told the truth.
But I'm lying, right? I'm so sick and tired of being called a lie.
We did a DNA test. concerning whether Frederick is Brandon's
And
father.
Frederick is not the father.
Yeah, your dad's half Puerto Rican.
I hope
Yeah,
not.
your dad's Puerto
Puerto
Rican,
Rican,
Brandon.
okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Brandon is not your biological child.
Thank God.
Like I told you.
You are the luckiest son of a bitch that's ever walked on my stage.
My kids can say they're not related to him.
You know, I don't know if there's any investigation with you with molesting children. I certainly hope.
There most definitely is.
I certainly hope that you go to prison someday. You know, and the good thing about this is the last time I'm ever gonna see you two dirtbags ever again. You gotta learn from what they did. I hope that you'll be a wonderful, you know, parent to your children, your stepchildren, and I wish you all luck in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Did Haylee get justice? Was she able to stop Fred? Let's find out. Please welcome back Haylee back to the show.
Hi, Steve.
So you know, Haylee, you know, when I look at your dad, you know, you try to not judge a book by its cover, but that guy looks like a predator. What's new?
So great news. Frederick has been arrested.
When did he get arrested?
So just a little over a week ago.
All right, because it wasn't that long ago that we taped your show, right?
Yeah, it's been just, what, a month?
Yeah. So he got arrested about a week ago, and where is Fred now?
Fred is in jail right now, waiting for his court date, and he has a bond of $300,000, and he's not even able to put up a bond.
And what is he charged with?
Fred has 3 charges of child molestation, 2 charges against me and 1 against my niece.
Oh, so because of what he did to you and your niece now, that's what he's charged with. And
Yep.
what kind of time is he looking at if he's found guilty?
So I read online, each charge carries 20 years for a maximum, so he's looking up to 60 years in prison.
What happened when he went to the police station?
So they started an interview, well, his interrogation, and he denied the claims with my niece. And when it came to me, he couldn't deny what he did to me, and he insinuated that I was telling the truth, and they took him into custody right there.
He's not the brightest bulb, huh?
Unfortunately.
So what happened with your mom, Natasha?
So I haven't had contact with her directly, but shortly after the show, she went onto social media and tried to still say I'm lying and make me sound like a horrible person.
But listen, I can't imagine your mom has a big social media following. So I don't think too many
Not really.
people, I don't think you have to worry about too much about what your mom's posting. But like, we had a lot of reaction to your show, and I love that Fred's arrested because he seems so smug and like he was just going to get away with it. And I'm glad it seems like there is going to be justice served with Fred. Do you feel like the show helped you?
Absolutely, 100%. Because I was literally excluded from my whole family. Everyone thought I was lying. No one believed me. No one supported me. And then once I got the test results, they couldn't ignore the fact that I was telling the truth. And a few of them have reached out, and I really have no interest in rebuilding a bond that they let go to waste.
I mean, I certainly would understand that. I mean, people don't believe you, but the fact that, he was dating your mother when she was 13, he's a 27-year-old guy, I don't know how anybody explains that or is okay with that. What do you want others to know, Haylee?
So after the show, I had tons of people reaching out to me and telling me their story about their sexual assault as children and how they feel brave enough to finally speak on it. And I want everyone to know that it doesn't matter if it was yesterday, if it was 5 years ago or 20 years ago, like my case, I'm finally getting justice because I spoke up. And if you speak, people will believe you. It might not be your mom, it might not be your dad. Somebody will believe you. The police believed me, Steve believed me, and now I have a whole army behind me that believes me. And I also want people to know that in my case, I couldn't tell my mom and dad. So you're always taught, like, don't talk to strangers. Strangers are bad. Sometimes the monsters are in your family. So tell a teacher, tell your physician, tell a police officer, tell somebody, even if it's not somebody you're close to. Someone will believe you.
That's really great advice because, unfortunately, a lot of times, as we've seen through the years on the show, it usually is a family member most of the time or a close family friend. So, you know, it's very courageous for you to speak out, and not only for yourself, but you're stopping Fred from making other young women victims, other children victims. Listen, we wish you all the best of luck, and I hope you'll keep us updated with what happens to Fred.
Thank you so much.